Your birth date is printed on almost everything that matters. Your ID, your passport, the forms at every doctor's office you have ever walked into. You have known it your whole life, and once a year you celebrate it. But there is a second date that belongs to you too, the day you die. You have never been told it. And the strange part is not that the date exists. It is how completely your life would change the moment you learned it. So imagine you found out. Picture a single line on your birth certificate, right below the day you were born, the day you will leave. What would you do differently? Start with the smallest version of this. Not the exact day, just the reminder that the day is coming. In 1989, a group of researchers led by Abram Rosenblatt and Jeff Greenberg ran an experiment on real municipal court judges. Half of them were quietly reminded of their own death first, with a couple of questions about what would happen to their body when they died. Then every judge was asked to set bail for the same minor crime. The judges who had been reminded of death set bail far higher than the ones who had not. Same crime, same paperwork. The only thing that changed was that death had crossed their minds. That finding launched an entire field called terror management theory. The plain version is this: when you are reminded that you will die, your brain does not shrug. It grips harder onto the things that make you feel safe. Your rules, your group, your sense of right and wrong. A single quiet reminder reshaped the decisions of trained professionals. And it is not only judges in a lab. That same reflex runs under ordinary life. The research links the simple awareness of death to why people hold tighter to their beliefs, their traditions, the group they were born into. The reminder does not just sit there, it quietly steers you. So picture what an exact date would do. Now go bigger, not a reminder, the number itself. Here's the part most people get wrong. They assume a known death date would fill them with dread, but the research on people who actually face a shrinking timeline points somewhere stranger. It points toward focus. A Stanford psychologist named Laura Carstensen spent decades studying what happens to people as their time runs short. Her theory is called socio-emotional selectivity, a long name for a simple discovery. When your future feels open and endless, you chase new things, new people, new skills, more of everything. But when your time starts to feel limited, your goals quietly flip. You stop collecting, you start choosing. People near the end of life do not try to meet more strangers. They pull close to the few who matter. They stop chasing novelty and start protecting meaning. And here's the detail that should stop you. Carstensen found you do not have to be old or sick for this to happen. When younger people were simply asked to imagine their time was limited, they made the very same choices, same narrowing, same focus, just from a thought. You have felt a smaller version of this already. The last summer before everyone leaves for college. The final week with a friend who is moving away. Suddenly the small talk stops, and the real conversations start. That is the same machinery switched on early. A visible ending changes what you reach for. So a date on your certificate would not only scare you, it would sharpen you. It would tell you, with no room for argument, exactly how much time was left to spend, and on whom. But there is a darker question hiding under all of this. Would you even want to know? Most people say no without thinking. Knowing sounds like a curse, a countdown clock you can never switch off. And yet, here's where your instincts may be wrong again. In 2016, scientists at University College London, led by Archie de Burker, ran a study where volunteers played a game. They turned over rocks on a screen. Under some rocks was a snake, and a snake meant a real, mildly painful electric shock to the hand. The odds kept shifting, so sometimes a shock was certain, sometimes impossible, and sometimes a coin flip. They measured stress every way they could: sweat, pupil size, the stress hormone cortisol in the volunteers' saliva, and the result was clear. The most stressed people were not the ones who knew a shock was coming. They were the ones who did not know. A 50% chance pure uncertainty was worse than a guaranteed shock. The researchers had a simple way to put it. When you apply for a job, you feel calmer if you're sure it is a long shot, or sure it is in the bag. It is the maybe that eats at you, the middle, the not knowing. So read that again. Knowing the bad thing was coming was easier to carry than not knowing. The waiting, the maybe, the open question. That is what wears the body down, which raises something deeply uncomfortable. The date you are so sure you would never want might actually bring you peace. Because right now, every single day, you are living under the 50% rock. You know the shock is coming. You just do not know when. And here's the thing nobody tells you. The date already exists, not as fate, as math. Right now, in an office you will never visit, Actuaries, the people who price life insurance, have already estimated how long someone like you will live. Your age, your habits, where you live, all of it folded into a single number. You are a date on a spreadsheet. You have just never been allowed to read it. So the real difference between you and the version of you with a death date on your birth certificate is not the number. It is the attention. That other you is not smarter or braver. They simply cannot pretend anymore. They cannot tell themselves there is always more time. You can. That is the gift and the trap of not knowing. The blank space where your second date should be lets you live as if the day will never come, and so you wait. You put things off? Think about the message you keep meaning to send. The trip you will take when things calm down. The person you will call this weekend, or maybe next. None of it feels urgent, because the blank space promises there is room for all of it. That promise is the most convincing lie your brain will ever tell you. But the people who studied the end-all found the same thing. The clarity never comes from the calendar. It comes from finally believing the day is real. Your birth date is printed on everything that matters. The other date is not printed anywhere. It never will be, but it was always there. The same way it is there for everyone you love and everyone you will ever pass on the street. You do not need to see the number. You only need to stop pretending it is not yours.